Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. Today we have our Summer Mower City Manager edition. I'm excited because you know why? Show 99.
I know. Can you
I
believe
cannot
it?
believe we're coming up on 100. I'm so excited.
That is such a milestone. And you guys, all your hard work as the president of the chamber and your board and your ambassadors, I mean, what a huge milestone. I mean, 99. And the information that you guys are able to get out to the community and your members is just really, really appreciative. So thank you so much for doing this show. And I can't wait to see your 100th episode.
I'm excited. Well, you know me, I don't do anything small,
You
so
don't?
we're gonna try to figure it out. But I'm excited because I feel like maybe the first, I don't know, maybe the first 50, the first 60, we were doing them, but like the last, I don't know, the last 25 or 30 ish, I have really started to just hear from people, and random people will come up to me in the community. I know you, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, hello, and and it always ends up being, oh, you and that other blonde lady, y'all were talking about, and so they recognize us and the information. So I'm just so appreciative that you or someone from your staff usually is a monthly guest, and we can give updates on all the things and. Maybe dispel some rumors and myths. We've done some myth busting on here before for some of our events and some of the things. So let's talk about it. Gosh, it is almost Thanksgiving.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe it either. Which means that since the last time we talked, we had a really phenomenal Fab Fest.
We did. And, Fab Fest is something I know that our community, I hope our community sees that we listen to the feedback. We got a lot of feedback, I know, throughout the community at the city. I believe you guys did at the chamber of citizens and visitors really wanted a true fall festival back because we had kind of went a little bit away from that. And I think it was a great example this year of partnerships, community involvement, to showcase a true downtown, and I love the name still, Fab Festival, Food, Art, and Brew, but you just really made it bigger and better. And that was really through partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce, Reidsville Downtown Corporation, RDC, Toy Makers was there, Tate's Pumpkin Patch, they donated the pumpkins for the pumpkin roll. They were a huge sponsor. And then there were so many other main sponsors for that event. And I thought it was unique this year because we kind of went back to our roots and started allowing, whether you're a crafter or a commercial business, we allowed anyone into the festival to try and make it more of community involvement. So we're really excited about the way it turned out. And we're excited to, capitalize on that for next year. There's hiccups with any festival. We learn from those and try and do better next year. But Montana Brown and his staff, the whole committee that met to make this vision a reality, I can't say enough positive feedback to them. Some cool stats that I think people should be aware of is Placer AI. Montana was actually able to get some data from them. And for those of you who may or may not know a little bit about Placer AI, they actually, all those apps that we click on for our phones, that's how they can track you without you knowing it, or maybe you consented to it because you wanted to see something on your phone. But Placer AI is data that's tracked through your cell phone. And from what we were able to see on that data alone, the people, which is typically adults who have cell phones, and those who had accepted apps to track, we had over almost 9,000 people. I would say there was a good 10 to 12,000 once you add in kids and maybe individuals who didn't have their phone or their location turned on for the apps to track them. But what was really cool about the data that we saw was over 55% were Reidsville residents that came out to the Fab Festival, and that's what we want. We wanted a community festival to where our residents could feel like this was part of their community and to see, our community at work. And then the rest, we got tourism from Greensboro, Virginia, as far as way as Charlotte, some of the mountain areas. So it was just really, really neat to be able to see where our market reached and to have that many people there.
Yeah, and you know what's really great about that? I think when I think about it, we had an interaction with a vendor who was right outside, who came in first thing in the morning and used the restroom, and she had forgotten a table. She had multiple tables, but she had forgotten one in a vehicle. And we let her borrow a table, and she was from the Charlotte area. And I got to thinking about that when y'all started reporting back, and I was hearing it in the different meetings. So, a lot of our vendors were local. Like, that was the point. But also some of the food trucks and things, you have to go beyond. They paid money to be here, but then they also spent money with other vendors, and they got to see the town, and they saw this amazing crowd, and they're like, hey, Reidsville's got something happening. And so I think for me, when I started hearing all those places, I thought, how cool that we are able to showcase Reidsville to people who are going to take that away from here, in addition to being able to really provide something for the folks here to do, because I think people just really enjoyed it. I mean, I was slammed. I want to say, I don't think I ever even stopped. I think I went to the restroom one time. The Tate's Pumpkin Patch shoved a cheeseburger in front of me about 3:00 and said, eat. And I remember that happening. But other than that, like, the beer garden was slammed. We went through 3 bowls of slushies on each side, each flavor 3 times.
Wow.
And so, and the apple cider was, a huge hit last year. So we brought that back as part of the brews, I guess. And it just was, I was blown away. I think for me, as somebody who has seen it for years at different versions and levels, chairman of the board's playing. I step away from the beer garden for a minute, and the street's still full. And there were people everywhere, and they were eating at the bistros, and they were in line for the food truck. And then there was this wall, like you would come through and under Market Square, and then that was like a whole vibe. So there's like 2 different vibes happening at the same time. I could not be more proud or more happy for you. I know you had a vision. I know your team carried it out. And they were so smart, like sitting in those meetings, those folks are so educated and so intelligent when it comes to talking about safety, talking about, like, when you're firing your police, we're like, well, if you close this street, you have to keep this street open, and you've got to be able to get through. And so, like, you making that committee have each of the departments that were represented be a part of it, it just made a world of a difference, because I don't think anybody was prepared for 12,000 people. No. But it happened, and it worked, and there weren't major hiccups. The only things were, we probably should have let the food trucks come in a little sooner. Things that, we didn't really consider.
No, that's very true. And, just some of the different activities that we're able to do this year with the rock climbing wall, partnering with toy makers to do kind of a classic car, I wouldn't say show, but kind of just a viewing, if you will.
Exhibition.
Exhibition. I think is a good word. That's a good word. Just to showcase some of the unique things. And a lot of those cars were from our community that had reached out, and to be able to have David kind of coordinate that was huge. And then the partnership with you guys and Boardwalk Baker, like the pumpkin pie eating contest, that was awesome. Abby with Boardwalk Baker was kind enough to sponsor that. So thank you so much for doing that. And then you guys were so kind. You had the idea, Diane, and I loved it when I started thinking about it, was to put it right out here at the R, because that gave something in the middle of the street to do. And then it also kind of gave us the staging area here. But I thought that was kind of fun. I think that's something we can continue to capitalize off of. And then I must say thank you to the chamber and your staff for having your facility open, because I came in here a couple of times. You had people in here kind of cooling off, taking visitor information. I saw people using your restroom. So thank you guys for that.
You're welcome. I'll give you a stat. We went through 28 rolls of toilet paper.
I believe it. They were lined back here sometimes when I came in.
But I will tell you, you know what? Debbie, so Star was out front. Debbie was working the desk. And, Debbie said to me, she was like, people were so appreciative. She was like, your vendors were like, we never go to festivals where we have a bathroom where we can just like take a breath and it's nice and it's not a porta john. And like they were so thankful, and I'm really proud
Thank you
of the
guys.
visitor center and the partnership with the city. Like we have come so far, and there's so many leaps and bounds, and like I'm sure and I hope that on feedback from the vendors that that's something that would be noted. And so to me, like we're just trying to create this experience.
It's an experience.
And I think we're killing it. So, I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's going to happen for next year.
No, we're really excited. Pumpkin roll, I left it a few minutes before it closed, and I know there had been over 200 pumpkins rolled at the time. So that was just something kind of fun and unique to try too, but you nailed it. We want to be able to give our residents and our visitors an experience, something that you can come back to each year. Chris Phillips actually had a really good idea the other day. We were chatting, and like the displays that you see at Market Square, the giant pumpkin. He said, how cool will that be to look at in a few years, where you had a parent take their little infant down there and have their picture made with that pumpkin. And then hopefully over years to come, you'll have maybe they bring their children back to have those same experiences that they remembered as a kid. And I thought, that's what it's all about, is creating that sense of community and community pride.
Well, and I love that because, I love pictures. I have 3 of my own, and we're already in that stage. We have a 14-and-a-half-year-old. Oh my gosh.
Can't believe that.
And we have a 12-year-old, and we're and a 9-year-old. So we're doing 9th grade, 6th grade, 3rd grade. So I'm already doing comparison pictures and, Google Photos and your iPhone, and they're always about reminding you of these memories and your Facebook, and they're like, look at what you posted. And so we just did a dance comp this past weekend, and that's one we've done traditionally. And the last time that we went and won, my girls were dancing together, and they were much younger.
Wow.
And so when I think about that, not even just like generations to come, and of course Chris would think about that because he's legacy and he's legacy at the city. And so, but I didn't even think about like my teenager taking a picture and like comparing it to her somewhere out here when she was younger. And it's special. And as a parent, and as, my in-laws and my parents, like as grandparents, that's what they live for, right? Like those memories and those things, those experiences. And, I mean, kudos to you. I was down here for homecoming pictures with my daughter a few weeks ago for the early college. And the early college is a really small school, so there were not many people down here, not as if in like the larger schools would have been. But we were down here taking pictures, and we used some of the props, and it was perfect. But there were just families like strolling up and down the street and taking photos, and to see their excitement. Oh, let's go over to this one, or oh, let's go to this one. I cannot wait for Christmas decorations. Cannot wait. So excited.
So thank you. And speaking of which, that's what we're working on next, is holiday decorations. So one thing I do want to point out to our viewers and listeners is we do try our best to keep up. You notice probably now fall decorations, we've started to bring most of them down. And I really hate that, but I want to explain the rationale why. Because all that you see, it is so hard to make that quick transition because of the way Thanksgiving has been falling, to be able, because with the city, we really only work 3 days the week of Thanksgiving. So it takes time for our teammates to be able to take those decorations down, and then we start dispose of stuff and start staging for the next event. I know we've had a lot of requests since we started doing those. Can you please leave them up to at least Thanksgiving? We would love to, but I don't know how. There's just, the timing wouldn't be right with our Christmas tree lighting, because the flip has to happen so quickly. But as you've probably noticed, downtown we have started transitioning away from the fall decorations, but our team has got some really fun, exciting Christmas decorations planned. You will be seeing a lot of your old favorites. You will see at Market Square, each bay will have a scene. We're trying to play off some of the classics that everyone has thought about. You'll have a Grinch scene. You'll have your, looking at doing something a little unique this year is the Polar Express, looking at doing a Polar Express scene. Also would be doing a Christmas story scene, some of your classics, Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So we'll have those throughout. The one thing I'm really excited about is our team at Public Works is building a giant Home Alone house. And it will be the focal point of the stage at Market Square, where you can actually go in there and pretend like you're Kevin or one of the burglars, Marv or Harry, and just kind of have that whole experience. But they showed me a mock-up yesterday of what it's looking like, and it is quite impressive. So that's kind of the big tease that we're working on right now. We'll also have decorations throughout downtown. We'll have our snowflakes up now that we have our beautiful banners and poles to put them on. We'll have some Christmas banners downtown. Also down here right beside of you guys at the Chamber at Mural Park, you'll notice that the barn scene's still there. It's there for a reason because we're going to turn that into a barnyard Christmas theme. We've got a chicken coop and just some fun little activities planned in that area. Also be doing some fun things up at Downtown Doghouse to create it looking like a gingerbread house. So we've got a lot of fun things planned throughout, and our goal is to start decorating the first week in December and have it up in anticipation of tree lighting on Friday, December the 5th. So we do encourage everyone for this year, if you want to dress in your favorite holiday attire, whether it's your pajamas that has the Grinch on it or some Christmas nostalgia that you enjoy, come and get your photo because all your classics will be back out making an appearance.
That's awesome. It's so exciting. Which means the Christmas tree lighting is coming.
It is.
And before we talk about that, you mentioned numbers and we talked about the Fab Fest, but we did not talk about trick or treat.
Yes.
OMG. We gave out 1,000 bags full of candy, and then we had a bunch of single candy that we didn't use. Gave all that away, and they were still out there. Kept coming.
It was incredible. And thank you to the RDC for their partnership with that. All of our downtown businesses, the Chamber, all the businesses downtown that participated.
And then all the ones that came from not downtown.
That was set up. All the other sponsors that came just to set up.
That too.
Because it truly just gave a whole different vibe. We say each year feels bigger and bigger. And from the Placer AI data that we're able to get, again, this is interesting, just based on cell phone pings alone, it had 3,000 people. So to me, you might as well double that because I saw families of at least one, if not 2 or 3 children with them who wouldn't have had cell phones. So I would say you easily had 6,000 people downtown for the trick or treat event. But it was incredible to see the lines. One thing we did learn that we'll look at next year is when I walked out of City Hall, they were literally lined down to City Hall. So we probably will look at closing Moorhead, just not anticipating that large of a crowd, just for safety reasons. But it was quite incredible to see that.
But also, I think people need to understand they can hop in anywhere.
Yes.
Because it kind of breaks between blocks. So we walked straight out and started this way and came back up because people were lined around the block and there was no need for it. They could just start anywhere. And so I think we've got to do a few things. There were a couple other things I saw too that I was like, yeah, we should probably have make it a little more formal.
Yep.
And so
that's a really good feedback too.
I'm excited about it though because I think it's going to get even bigger. And then followed up by the movie, which is really cool.
It was great. So I know they showed the movie downtown that evening. They had a lot of people stick around for that. One thing we do want to look at is maybe incorporating, some type of event into the trick or treat event next year, as we've talked about. But the other cool thing as well, I think that data had over 65% of the people were from Reidsville. So I'm glad we could offer a community event that day. I appreciate your leadership and guidance along with our team. That was the perfect day to have it because we were going back and forth. With Halloween was a Friday night. You don't want to take away from people already doing things. Then you had a game, I think, the previous week, which we would have done it. So kudos to you and our city team for figuring out the the perfect date to make that work for families.
Yeah, I just finally was like, we got to go with something. And
Yeah.
I poured over the calendars. I poured over the school calendars, and I was like, I finally told Robin, I was like, I think this is the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if y'all look at it and think, because football's such a big deal.
It is.
And we don't want to interfere with that. And then we were getting too far away from Halloween, the more backwards we worked. And it just, so, and it is kind of neat the way the schools are off now. Bless those teachers. Good for them. The way it did fall this year and that they weren't in school. And so for us, we had a quiet Halloween at home. Like, because we were able to come out on Thursday, we did movies and pizza, and we're in our pajamas, and we had a great Friday evening at home. So I think it was great. I could not be more excited about people being back out and about, and just, I mean, I never thought the word pandemic, like global epidemic, like those were vocabulary words, and I never thought that I would live through that. And so it's insane to me that, like, we're talking 2025. I mean, we've seen it kind of come back, but I felt like this year was like the year.
It was.
That everything just kind of came back into alignment with community events. Still not in alignment with the way people don't stay out late anymore, and things aren't open late anymore, and people can't staff late. But slowly but surely, I think some of the community stuff is coming back bigger and better than it was.
No, because you're right. When we think back about 21, I know even, I came in 21 and we weren't able to do any of those events because we were still in the midst of the pandemic. And then, you hit 22, 23, you're trying to recover and get people back out. So I agree with you. I think 2025 was the year we actually kind of saw people come back to some type of community event and actually participate. So I hope that's a great trend we'll continue to see.
Well, and I think some of it's family, right? We were just talking about, before we came on, we were talking about traditions and things. And, for me, my kids are a whole different set of ages than what my son was 3 years old when COVID broke out. So, he's 9 now, and it looks different. And so people had started to move away from things we were doing and created their own traditions. And now you've got like a new flux of kids and new flux of families who don't have a tradition. So why not go out and do the community thing? And so I think some of that's a cycle, like everything else. We talk about cycles a lot in community and government. And so I do think that some of that just unfortunately sent us into a cycle that we're just coming back out of.
No, that's a good analysis.
Speaking of, we kind of covered all the community events. Let's wrap that up by saying Christmas tree lighting, Friday, December 5th,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. And the chamber will be open as well. We're really excited to partner again on the letters to Santa.
Thank you.
So we'll have your mailbox out there, and then we will magically have Santa answer those letters. And we will also have the workshop open, which for us is sponsored by Reidsville Ortho and Ag South. The cool thing is we will also give out goodie bags that night. So people can come in, they can take pictures inside with our decorations. It will be warm. So that's exciting.
Perfect.
But we are almost out of time, and I think you have some changes. We had a new staff member who was announced at City Council this past week. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're really excited. We have been without a public works director since May of this year. And I can't give enough props to former fire chief, retired fire chief David Bracken, and Lindsay Tuttle, who is a retired street superintendent. They were so kind to come back right in the middle of being without a director and really needing some help. And they have filled that void. And I cannot thank them enough for all their hard work with just being that liaison and that calming factor until we could find a new public works director. So we're really excited. For the first time, we had a promotion of an internal candidate, Mr. Mo Brothers. Mo has been with the City of Reidsville since 2023. serves as our wastewater treatment plant operator. So he's still got 2 hats going right now at the moment until he can find his replacement. But Mo has a very, very impressive career. He has his bachelor's and master's degree, military experience, and just a team player. The transition that I was able to watch in our wastewater treatment plant just in his short time there it's been so impressive what he's been able to accomplish with his team, doing things in-house, ensuring the safety of the wastewater that we're putting back into local water streams. It has just been top-notch. And to see his interest in that position, it was well earned and deserved. And I'm really excited to see where he can lead the Public Works team under his leadership. So really, really excited for Mo. Mo lives here in Reidsville. So just excited to see where he can take that team. Very excited for that.
I think it's phenomenal, and I'm excited for you. Public Works has got, the last time I checked, it was like, 30 some projects they were working on, and they just do so much that is not seen.
That's a
not
great
heard,
point.
Not seen. And infrastructure is so important. Tell us about that.
So it's huge. Like you named it, there's so much that goes unseen that they're doing. For an example, we've got several of those large projects we've been talking about. The BNR project at the wastewater treatment plant, it's bionutrient removal. That is something we had to do to be in compliance with state guidelines. We're excited that we're wrapping that up. Redundant water line, having that secondary water line. So for redundancy purposes, moving forward with that, along with our whole plant generator. We've got our headworks analysis to where when things come into the wastewater treatment plant, we're able to better treat them before they go into the system as a whole. So you've got all those capital projects on top of the day-to-day operations, on top of trying to oversee our CIP plan, which is our capital improvements plan. But our public works, I mean, I can't thank them enough. All divisions from our garbage pickup to water to wastewater to streets to our garage. We don't hear a lot about our garage. Daniel Evans and his team do an exceptional job at our city garage to where we can try and save our residents money and do some of the oil changes and mechanical labor in-house to make sure we are running efficiently. So just be, when you go and your trash is picked up on a Tuesday, like someone came and got that. When you go and turn your water on, someone's out there doing that. When you go and you flush your toilet, someone's out there making sure that's treated. And, with the recent government shutdown that we've all lived through, it really made me think, how would that ever affect us on a local level? Because you don't think about those individuals who we take for granted. When we turn that water on, there are actually people out there working to treat it, to make sure it's safe for us. And what would that look like at a local level? And it made me very, very thankful for our team and for the city of Reidsville and all that we're able to provide our citizens.
It's amazing. It truly is. And like the more I learned, the more blown away I am at what is, happening on a local level. And I don't know. It's just we're very thankful, and we're very thankful for the folks who do what they do. So, well, we're out of time. Did we cover everything?
We did. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So thank you for all that you do and your team.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the 100th show. Yay. All right. Well, awesome. Well, if that's all we have for today, we will take it away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's all for today, folks. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street or online at www.reidsvillechamber.org and all of our social media channels. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned.